So you learn about method overloading. We can also overload constructors because technically constructors are also methods. Here's an example. When creating an employee object, let's imagine that some of our employees have a base salary and they can also do extra hours every month, but we have other types of employees that don't do extra hours. So we don't want to pass this second argument here. Now, one way is to pass 0, and that is my preference. The other way is to overload this constructor. So let me show you how to overload constructors if you really have to. Back to our employee class. Here's our first constructor. I'm going to select these few lines and press Command and D to duplicate this code. All right. Now we need to clean it up a little bit. All right, so we have two constructors. I'm going to change the first constructor and remove this parameter. Now here we need to pass 0 as the hourly rate. And this means we have to go to the implementation of this method and change our data validation logic. We can quickly jump to this method by pressing Command and B. If this doesn't work on your machine, look under the Navigate menu. Here's the shortcut. Navigate to declaration is Command and B on Mac. On Windows, it's going to be different, and honestly, I don't know. So Command and B. Here's our data validation logic. We want to remove the equal sign because the hourly rate might be 0. Now, back to our constructors. So here's one way to implement this constructor. The other way is to reuse the logic that we have in the second constructor. So instead of repeating these statements, we can simply call this constructor and pass the values we want. So how do we do that? We're not going to be able to call employee here. Instead, we need to use the this keyword. So this, as I told you before, is a reference to the current object. Now, we can use parentheses to call the second constructor. So we pass the base salary and 0 as the hourly rate. This way, we're reusing the logic that we have in this method, and that is better. With this change, we can go back to our main class. Here we can create an employee object with 2 arguments or another employee object with only a single argument. Now let me show you another shortcut. Look under the View menu. Here's the shortcut for looking at the parameters of a method, Command and P. So if I press Command and P here, we can see that this method is overloaded twice. In the first implementation, we only have to pass the base salary. In the second implementation, we have to pass the base salary and the hourly rate.